All right. So let me start with some couple of questions. Okay. So since you guys have already completed now machine learning, you have done Python as well, statistics, right? And maybe some more modules. So now, if you are you guys working as a data scientist at this stage, or searching for a job, or working but in some other domain? Quickly, you can, since we have very small count, I'm sure you can just all of you can put your answers.
Actually, there are mixed kind of people, Ragini.
Okay.
There are people working as well as freshers and job searchers also,
Okay.
and
Okay.
people working in different domains as well.
Okay. So since it's a small headcount, I'm assuming all of you are just very new to this domain. Okay. Fine. Uh okay, no worries. So my question is for everybody then. Um so now, given if you'll be given a data set, let's say you got a job. Okay, so a lot of you are searching for it. Fine. Let's assume you got a job. And maybe on the and then your manager comes, and your manager gives you a CSV file similar to the one I have given to you, and ask you, okay, do the analytics on this. And along also, okay, so now, what is your understanding? How would you do? Where will you start? What would you do first? What should be your, or rather, you understand, so what should be your first approach, and what should you do that is considered to be valid in industry? Okay, so that's my first question. Do you have any idea? Have you done any research, somewhere read something, googled, or asked some of your friends? So any idea how one should approach? Basically, that is given. In fact, that happens, this sort of what I'm asking you, you'll, I'm sure if you're actively taking interviews, you would have got this sort of similar questions by your interviewer as well. What
Uh,
would you do?
yeah,
Yeah.
first we need to understand what is the business need, or like what will be the like what is the basically the requirement by the client. Then we need to understand what type of data is required. Then if data is provided, we need to understand each and every feature. What is the importance of that feature? Then after knowing each and everything about the project or like the data, then the next stage will be our data cleaning.
Okay. So that's actually okay. So my next question I'll give you. Anybody wants to? Okay. So someone saying that we need to import library, right? Right. So before I give my next question, which should be a follow up on this, I want to. You're right, Akshay. More or less similar thing, but yeah, this moral of this story is you have to first so if problem statement is given along, well and good, understand the problem statement. If not given, that should be your first question. What is the problem you are here to solve with the data? Every data should, if given to you, should come along with some problem statement, some problem which you are trying to solve from the data. If problem statement is not given, or if you are not clear, you first get clear about it. If you have to ask cross question, your manager or client, whoever is the point of contact, ask it. Until and unless you cannot understand the problem well enough in terms of data and data terms, you cannot solve it. Okay, this is a simple rule. It's always true, and you cannot even contribute anything new to it if you don't understand. Okay, so that's right. You have to understand the problem. You have to understand, visualize the problem in terms of data problem. Very important. Yes, that's great. Then, okay, let's say you understood the problem, you understood the requirement now, and you have the data also in your hand. What will you do in terms of, okay, so if you see today's agenda, I have put on the Jupyter notebook as BMW Price Prediction EDA. So when we say an EDA, what are you trying to do in EDA? Firstly, what is EDA? And then what all you'll do under this?
Ragini, EDA is exploratory data analysis, where we see what, as you said, like the problem statement, whether it is a regression or classification, we understand, and then what are the features that are required, what are not required, what the null values, removal of null values, or putting values wherever it is missing. So all this comes under the EDA.
Okay. Okay. Not bad. Any other answers or anything addition to this?
Like
Yeah,
EDA is a first step, like understanding the data, how many rows and column we have, then what are the objects, like what is the um, data type of each object, then how many missing values are there, then what are the variables that are like relevant to your problem statement, then removing unrelevant features. So all this comes under EDA. Feature scaling.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
yeah, visual.
Preparing, maybe like preparing the data for modeling, the right set of data that we require, and
Mm-hmm.
that could be the, I mean, EDA, exploratory data analysis.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Okay. Yeah, most of you're right. I mean, right. More or less, that's what we try to do. So why we do? What's the goal? So goal is to understand the hidden pattern in the data, to explore, as it the name says, exploratory data analysis, to explore the pattern in the data through the tools that you have in hand, through pandas, and then visualization, basically summarization or visualization, whichever way it's easier to do. Yes, you try to do. So in this process of exploring the data, you may have to do a lot of processing, a lot of cleaning, what you say, or pre-cleaning, and like handling missing values, handling of the your categorical datas, uh, checking for correlated values, right? And also that is one goal. And of course, yes, eventually, if your goal is, I mean, eventually, if your problem statement includes prediction or model building as an end goal, then obviously you also have to do this. While doing this EDA, you have to consider that factor in mind, that you have to prepare your data a model ready oriented. So that could be through, again, handling no, of the missing values, or however possible scaling required. Okay, let's just scale up and everything. Okay, so here the goal is to explore the more information you get out of it. And then of course, you also, as a data scientist, it will be your responsibility to understand or to suggest how the information that you see through data can be utilized. Okay, if you get something which you cannot make out, then that's not information. It should be channelized to improve your end goal. That's the whole goal. Yeah, so that's true. Okay, so you guys already know so much. Nice. Anybody has any questions so far? Okay, so now, given that you guys know the process quite well enough, and as I said, it is a process of exploring data through various ways. All right, through summarizing or visualization, with the goal that you bring in insights out of it, or you do pre-processing, or you note out what are the pre-processings required before feeding it to the model. So the similar thing we are going to do today on BMW. Basically, it's a data set. If you guys notice, it's a data set that has a collection of BMW cars information, certain details. We'll just pick up, I'll read it. And let's try to do the required EDM. Let's try to understand what all should I do, what I should not do, why I should do, why I should not do, how to decide what is right. See, there are many things. I'm sure you have already completed a lot of this stuff. So, for example, do I need to do missing values every time on every data?
It depends, like that feature is really contributing to our target variable or not.
How will I know if my feature is contributing to the target variable or not?
Like we can check the correlation between our the
Can you check a correlation without handling missing values?
no, correct.
Yeah, missing values have to be handled at any cost. Like they may be removed or they may be like imputed. I mean, in different ways. They have to be handled.
But if my data does not has missing values, then
That's fine. Then we can continue. If there are no missing values, that's pretty good.
right. Okay. So before I import and start, let me try to set a goal for what we are doing. Okay, because since we have some finite time and limited time. But let me tell you, I think you guys already know about this. When it comes to real-time project or real right, you cannot do in 1 or 2 days, just pick a data in 1 day, 2 day, you're done. No, in industry it does not work. So data science is an iterative process. It experimental, a lot of experiments are still conducted. So it takes time to really do that. For example, but yes, most of the time goes in understanding data, or what you say, EDA. The more better way you do your EDA, and EDA, well, EDA, see, it's not just about tool and technology, it's also about, are you coming up with the right set of questions? The more questions and the more right set of question if you can ask, the more better model eventually you'll build up. Okay. And data science, sorry, the machine learning is not just about model building. It's more about building a robust model. Model building does not take too long, if you have a good quality of data. So the more time in any project goes in preparing that quality of data that can be used to build a model. And as you guys would have already heard this somewhere, at least if not experienced, in real time you hardly get a quality data from source. I mean, very rare few companies may have that already, the quality data they're collecting, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, or so that could be a luck. But otherwise the data how they collect, the businesses, need not be in the form you really need it to solve any given problem. So the data need not be, so that takes time. And of course, just the what we have learned, right? All the technical terms and steps in real time, that may not also work every time. Okay, this whatever you guys have learned here or anywhere, not just here, mostly those are applied in ideal cases. Real world problems are not ideal. Okay, there are turn and twist. So my goal here will be today and tomorrow, not just give you the code, of course, that you can do it. I'll share the code eventually. I can, in fact, I already have the code. If you want, I can give you. But that's not my focus to teach you how to code for this or uh, writing code. I'm sure you better know it. My goal will be to share with you more informations from industry point of view, uh, which uh, people of course learn it when they go to industry or when they work on real time projects. Since you said you were already you are searching for job, that means you don't have real time work experience on this data science projects. I'll try to share this knowledge. And let me tell you, as you guys are attending interviews, this are going to be very useful for your interviews. Okay, so try to focus on learning the approach, not exactly for approach which you can apply to any data set, not just in specific to this data set or this problem. Okay, and of course, the quality or the quantity that you're going to learn out of this session depends on how actively you yourself participate. If you have question, doubt, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer in as simple way as possible. um and See, again, the extensive EDA, if I have to do, it's not possible in the limited time we have. So I'll try to keep it short. I'll give you the ideas and I'll leave up to you, because since we have a day, I expect you guys to work and come by 2. working on them by tomorrow. Okay. And then that will be the goal. Is that clear? Any question in that? Anything confusing? Sounds good? Sounds informative, or sounds like, oh, I already know? Okay, great. So now let's go start with importing the required package that we need. So I'm going to import them. You guys can work simultaneously with me. All right. So let me first import my data set. Okay, I just call it df for simplicity, just to save on time. So all right, that's the data set. Okay, we have 4,843 rows and 18 columns. All right. If you look at the features, these are the features, or what you say, columns. Just top 5 records are displayed right now. Uh, the features names are, few of them are quite self-explanatory. That means you can understand the attribute. And given that it's a BMW car details, I'm sure the problem statement by the title and by the column names is quite clear to you. That means if I put across any problem statement right now, I know you can, all of you can connect to it very easily. You know, some, for example, tomorrow, let's say I come up with a problem on pharmacy data. You may not, because a lot of the medical terms we may, all of us may not be quite familiar, but this is a car data and I'm sure all of us are quite familiar. Should not be difficult. That's the reason we choose this one. Okay. So yeah, few of the features are quite self-explanatory. Few of them are encoded, and even I don't have information. So this can also be one of the challenges. You see, when you get data from client, you may not be actually knowing the meaning of the feature that will be encoded. Still, you have to work with it, and if you know, then it becomes quite easy. And we'll try to see all. Okay, so now let's try to see one by one. So it's a maker key, basically, which is BMW. In this case, if you see, it will be all same. Basically, it is supposed to have some other data set as well, but fine. Model key. So this is BMW model information. Then mileage information, engine power, registration date, the date when the car was registered, maybe first time or maybe the latest registration, maybe. Okay. Fuel, then paint color, car type, feature 1, 2, and up to 7, 8. And then price. Okay, so feature 1 to 8 is supposed to be, looks to be binary ones. And then the price of the car given. Okay. And again, when you say price, we all of us can interpret it different way, but we are assuming this is the price at which it's being sold. You can say, okay, is it the first time the car is sold, or it's sold second time, third time? Okay, let's see. That can be a question. That can be a valid question. You have to think. Then sold at a date is also given. So we have a registration date and we have sold at date. So if you see, they are certainly not same. What that means? So car is registered at some point and then again is sold. So looks like these are the details of the second hand car details, right? So somebody, first time somebody bought and then sold it again, and then maybe we are discussing about. So you can assume this, somebody bought, this is a second hand car sales information. And if I have to sell it again, how much price should I charge for my car? That's the problem you're solving here. I'm sure and I'm hoping all of you are clear with the problem statement. So given a car, BMW car, maybe second hand, okay, you have to tell or you have to predict rather the price at which you can sell it best. Any question about this? Okay, so if not, I have a question here. Tell me, uh, what are the factors that decides? Okay, by the way, uh, okay, but first, my first question before that, should I jump to handling for missing values, etc., everything? What should I do when I get a data set like this? What will you do when you get? Of course, you said a lot of steps, but what will be the first step that you are? If you do, it's better.
What I would do is, Ragini, rather, I think like, what is the problem? The problem is, I mean, uh, we have to predict the price. So that's a kind of regression thing. So what I do is, what are the relevant features that could be applicable? That I'll sort out first.
Okay. Okay. And how do you understand which are the relevant features?
So price prediction maybe like the model, is it a diesel or a petrol car, or like what is the cc, the power, and when it is made, like the make of the year, when it is manufactured. So all these it depends on.
Okay.
So like actually we need requires little domain knowledge also, like to select feature.
Correct. So basically, you should be familiar with the problem and, of course, the business model. It's not domain knowledge, at least business model, if you're familiar. Um, yeah, you need not know everything rather, but how this data source rather, okay? If you know how the data gets generated, of course, you have to ask somebody who is expert about this business model. You may not be, that should give you some idea to understand or to relate, okay, which features can be most significant, to guess at least. And then of course, if you're not very much clear, that's okay, you can ask them. You can ask the point of contact, you can cross check to them, this is how I think, am I right or am I wrong? See, in real time you may not have just like 18 columns or 19 columns and you try to go and work on every one of them. You can have 100, 200, 300 columns. Okay, a lot of the times the client may even give you all the data that they have. So maybe 100 columns they have, 100 tables they have, they'll give you all that. It will be left up to you to decide which columns will be relevant for you. So maybe you'll have to spend some good amount of time to understand the business model, how the columns are related to the problem statement, right, or the business. And of course that will take some substantial time for you to and fro discussion with the point of contact. So this is going to be always part of it. Okay, so yes, you have to think. So basically it's a brainstorming stage more, right now more. Okay, that you have to do, um, at least to get some fair amount of understanding. You may not understand every features, that is okay. Okay, so for example, in this case I don't understand, and right now I don't have any point of contact also, but still I have to include. So of course, it is like a trial and error I have to do. One time maybe I'll include and see if it's improving, or not include and see if it's improving. But right, so most of that is the stage. Go ahead and understand the variables in context of the problem statement. And of course, when I say problem statement, it means to with the business model. So ask question, like try to understand how this data, for example, when you say mileage, where this mileage comes from. Is somebody manually populating, is the customer populating, or is it getting populated from some table? Whenever this request comes, so like that you can ask a lot of questions that will give you a lot of clarity, trust me. So that's how you do it. Okay, yeah, and
Ragini,
that's
one doubt I have here.
Mhm.
Suppose, like, suppose if you take the feature one, any feature, because everything is true, false, and we have not. So it could be a positive feature or it could be a negative feature. For example, in this case, if we think, has the car met with an accident? Yes
Mm-hmm.
or no? That could be one feature.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other kind of feature could be like, is it a second hand car or a first hand car, or is it a third hand car? So that could, that with that also the price depreciates, right? Because it's say third or something like that. So there could be a positive feature or there could be a negative feature which indicates, right?
There could be, but
Yeah.
what you just said, you can validate from data. I mean, that's a good
Okay.
assumption. What I mean, hypothesis that came to your mind. Um,
Right.
Whenever you come across and if you have question, validate from data itself.
Okay. So such kind of things like, can we validate, as you said, can we, I mean, as you said, it's a trial and error method, right? That we have to apply and see if the
No,
efficiency increases or something.
yes, you're right. So yeah, that's a good one. Maybe that can happen. Your assumption is basically if the age of the card increases, as it increases, the price should be lesser, right?
Right.
In general, yeah, it has happened, but it's always a good practice to double check from the data if your data also telling that.
Okay.
So how will you do that?
Right.
Again, whatever you have learned, the statistics, make use of statistics, plot, and so on. I don't have file link because it's not uploaded right now. I didn't get a source where I should upload, so I'm just sharing the CSV file in your um, meeting chat box basically. Right. So you have to, yes. So now the idea is to identify some important features. Now, either you identify whatever ways we just discussed. Yeah. Coming back to this problem. So what do you think? Which are the, if I said top five um, crucial features that I have to pull out, what that should be according to you guys in the given scenario, in the given setup?
Registration date.
Registration date, how and why?
Because from registration date, we can calculate the age of the car with the today's date, I think. So on the basis of that, we will be able to, I mean, predict on the basis, I mean, what is the age of the car and how the price is.
Engine power,
Model key,
engine power also,
That's right. Engine power. Mm-hmm.
model
then
key,
paint, even paint also.
fuel type,
That's fine. Okay. Fuel type, okay.
The
and
mileage
the
of the
car
car,
type.
Mileage,
kilometers driven. The more the kilometers are there, so less will be the price.
More kilometer, lesser the price. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the basically general assumptions from real-time experience, right? But is the data also saying that? Awesome. Okay. You guys did well. True. More or less, this is what you'll pick because anyway, other features are unknown. So yeah, more or less we have very less and yeah, all of them came. Model key. Model key, yes, we have already taken. All right.
I have a
Yes.
doubt here.
Mm-hmm.
Between model key and engine power, let's just say BMW M4 has engine power of 317. Across the data, is it the same or is it gonna vary here?
That's a good question that you have to validate from data. So you guys are asking right question, and that's what we have to do. You have to come up with some curiosity, and I mean, from real time or general life practice, we may have some answer, but again, validate from data. So what you asked, you have to validate from data. I don't know. Even I don't know. I have to check that. What is data saying? Ideally, what do you think? Ideally, what should happen for the same model? If you have different engine power, of course, the highest engine power should have highest price. That's what, right? But let's see if data also says. But so how will you do? So now the question is, how will you validate from data? What should you do? So I'll say, oh yeah, data is also saying same. What does it means by validating from data?
We can take some unique things and summary, and with that we get some points.
Can you elaborate? Taking an example. Do you mean you want to summarize by every category, every engine power for a model?
For the question that has been asked, like I think yeah, we need to do for those two, like the model and the engine power. So is it unique or any combinations exist, so that we come to know whether that question, that assumption that we are doing is valid or.
Okay, any other answer?
First we have to check the data types related to our features, whether all the features are containing the right format of data. If that is not, then we have to fix it. Like in the model key, we have numeric and categorical value 118 and M4. Okay, so we have to fix these kind of value. And uh, and the other thing is like as we can also see that there is not any none values here, and we have to fix those categorical variable to the somehow integer type before it passing it to
Okay,
the
okay,
model
hold
switch.
on, hold on. Okay, good, fine. But okay, my question is not that first. Yeah, that's right. Eventually, we'll go to that. Uh, my question is, one of you just said, I mean, a thought came in mind. Okay, ideally, in ideal world, for this, in the same car model, let's say 320 has some different versions of engine power. Let's say two of them are 160 and then 178 and then 189. Ideally, which one should be sold at highest price? This is model 320 and it has three different engine powers.
More the
Which engine
horsepower,
power should be sold at highest price?
more the horsepower, more the price.
180.
189.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I have to cross validate if my data is also saying the same thing. How will I do it?
Group by this model and price
Okay.
with
Group by and
respect
do
to this
what?
group by with respect to 320, and then with respect to price.
Price. Do what of price? What do you want to do on price? Average, mean, median, mode,
Mean.
mean. Okay. How do you know mean is always going to be right answer? Why not mode?
uh, in the case of numerical part, numerical categorical numerical variable, we prefer mean or median, and in case of any discrete variable or categorical variable, we choose mod.
Okay, I get it, but that's my question. Why not? Okay, so I said mode. I'm sorry. Why not median? Why mean? When to use mean? When to use median?
Median is just generally used when we have to avoid the outliers in the data distribution, because median is not affected by outliers,
Yes.
and the
Do you
mean
know
is
your data
affected.
has outliers or not? Have you
We have to
already
check.
found it?
No, we have to check.
Yes. So you should not
Box plot.
abruptly answer whenever some question like this comes. Okay, that you have to take the average of the data. No, you have to check first, validate. I mean, again, try. I mean, this is for all of you. In interview, when they say or something like this, cross questioning came, like how I said, you have to understand where the question is coming from. Okay, what you guys said is right. You see, what you are saying is right, but again, you are not pointing to that, and but mostly they try to understand if you have really understand the code. So since mod are not affected by outliers, but when it comes to mean, they are affected. So when I have to choose a metric for my analysis, I have to first do some validation. So here the whole story was based on outlier. So first I have to validate my outlier is there or not, and accordingly choose the right metrics to aggregate my data. Getting? I mean, I just
Right.
gave you for you to understand how you should tackle, right? So yes. So that's why, see, now again, you guys talked all this and you're jumping. If you see, it's like more of jump going here and then you're trying to do this first, then you realized, oh, something else is missing. There's a dependency, lot of things, right? Yes. So to make sure they don't end up in such roundabout loop, there is some steps that if you follow rightly, you'll be going almost smooth way with a calm mind. And that's what we are going. I'll just give you a hint. Again, it's not strictly that all of you should follow that, but I strongly believe we should do that. So okay, so whenever you start with EDA, okay, EDA you can perform in two level: univariate analysis and bivariate analysis. Are you guys aware?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what do we do in univariate analysis?
So,
In
working on a
univariate analysis, we analyze about only a single feature.
single column, yeah, I mean median or something like that of a single column, that is univariate. Whereas bivariate is for two.
Okay. Okay. So under univariate analysis, we try to understand each of the feature in irrespective of other feature existence. Okay. And to study the bivariate analysis, we try to understand how is the impact of other features on the current feature. Okay. Or how they are related, or how they are impacting each other or affected by each other presence. So to understand the univariate effects, what are the tools given, or what are the EDA components that you should do, which all EDA process comes under univariate analysis, where you try to understand individual features, information irrespective of others one. Okay, so missing values handling, that falls under univariate analysis. Okay. Then you have like encoding. Basically, somebody talked about binary conversion. That's under univariate. Outlier detection. It's outlier detection, you can say, or anything else, or outlier handling, whatever ways. No, handling is a good term here. So that comes again univariate analysis. Okay. What else you can do here? Normality check. Can I do that? You can do that. Okay. So under univariate analysis, you're trying to understand each of these features for this following factors individually, as you said. And there can be a lot more, but minimum this much if you do, it's good one. Under bivariate, what all analysis you'll do to study bivariate effect?
Correlation matrix.
Correlation,
Box plot between two variables.
same thing. Correlation, what
Covariance.
correlation covariance are similar. Correlation is a standard
Oh.
form of covariance.
Pair plot.
Multicollinearity,
Pair plot.
okay. Oh yeah. Pair plot, okay. What else? Outliers also. So sometimes outliers with respect to other features also happen. So you can have same, or so this can come in. Okay, what else? There can be some more statistical analysis, but fine. To the minimum, if you do this much, it's good enough. Again, guys, this looks to be very small, but on when you have really huge data, it takes days together to complete all this. Okay. Hopefully this is giving you some idea. Okay. So if you can follow this hierarchy, it's more or less you are not going to jumble up in your right. You'll be avoiding all the dependencies. For example, some of you talked about correlation check. So if you have already done the missing values handling if required, and if you have already encoded, okay, to encode also you have to first handle missing values. Then obviously you can perform correlation check. Okay, right. Now let's go in the same order and see in our data whichever required in the order we'll try to do. And and decide. Of course, once you have decided, it's just code writing 1 to 2 lines. Okay, and then it should be done. So it's more decision taking happens during ED. Of course, along you have to write some code required, which we'll be doing. Okay, right. So starting with univariate analysis. In that, I'll start with first missing values. Let's see if I have any missing values. How do you check that?
Data.easing.
Okay, this will also tell you. Okay, so df.agenull.sum, that basically sums up and gives you the number of missing values in each columns. Here in our data, luckily we don't have any missing values, which is good thing, because missing values handling sometimes takes lot of time. Here we are going to save that, but I just want to give you some information before. I know there are no missing values, so we won't be handling, we are sure. But I have some questions for you. Assuming, let's say, assume if there were missing values. Okay, by the way, whenever there are missing values, how do we handle it? Let's see your views first. If, let's make an assumption, if missing values, how will you handle it?
If we have like uh, if we have missing values in a categorical variable, basically we'll be using mode uh, as a function to replace those missing values. And if we have numerical missing values, then we have different methods, like we'll be using mean and median. So if we have like high variation in the data set, then we'll be using basically median. And if we do not have any high variation, that means standard deviation is not too high, then we can use mean. And again we have one method is like arbitrary. Then we have extreme value replacement, whether we'll be replacing the missing values with the extreme value. Then we can use uh, that is we can replace those values with the random sample that can be chosen that can be chosen from the same feature.
Okay, okay, get it. I got it. Now, here's a question for you. Assume that this is a model key and you have missing values in few of them. Which approach will you use from the one you said to fill that?
So it is a basically we have to check whether it is a categorical variable or not. We have to check how many unique values it has. If unique values are like example I'm taking, if the unique values are greater than 20, like it means that it is a continuous variable. But if the unique values are like very few, like 10 to 15 unique values are there, then we can get it as a categorical variable and replace with the mode.
Okay, let's say it's a categorical variable. So you want to replace with mode?
Yes.
Will that be right? Let's say in place of M4, you have a missing values. If I go and choose the mode approach, am I doing the right thing? In mode, you got 420. I filled it with 420. And let's say like that, you have maybe 20 of the missing values. You filled all of them with 420. What do you think? I mean, of course, we something did, but did that maintain my data quality well enough? Is it adding any
No,
sort of bias?
no, we have to fix this model key first, whether it is numerical, categorical, discrete, whatever the thing.
Is it? Okay. Let me tell you another. So, let's say you have fuel. There are missing values. How will you fill it? Should I take the mode approach?
Uh, that can be again relevant. We have to check other feature variable also, like that fuel is dependent on any other feature. That means the missingness in the data is basically randomly, or do we have any relationship with the other variable?
Okay, so you are saying correlation check I have to do, correlation I have to find out if there are, if my fuel can be correlated with any other features based on that. For example, let's say I got to see a pattern in my other data where you don't have missing values for them, that every black car, major of them, let's say 99% of them, were of diesel uh, type, a fuel type, okay, had the diesel fuel type. So next time I'll now go this way. With respect to wherever there is a missing values, I'll check its paint color, car color, and then if I say diesel, then from that box, from that table, I'll see, okay, for diesel, what sorry, I'm sorry, let's say if you go and you check a missing values here, then you'll see the car paint color, it is silver. Okay, so from the previous relation, silver was for petrol car, you pick petrol and fill it here. That's what you're saying?
Yes, that
Yes.
can be the one way.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's also an approach. Okay, so here you see mode approach did not work. I mean, you can of course do, but that's not a mode element. However, this correlation of the variables, through that if you fill, it will be more correct. Okay, missing value is like a blank, you fill it with anything. Okay, however, if you choose the more related information, if you can guess the more related information, the data quality will be more real, right? The quality of the data will not change. But if you just randomly fill with anything, of course model will not tell you why are you filling with this, but the quality will actually, the inherent data property or data pattern you are disturbing. So you have to be careful, you have to double think, don't be in a hurry to fill, think, cross verify, take your time. The approach that you have thought, are you taking care of all the possible scenarios that can disturb because of this? And then take your time and fill up. Okay, you can also cross check with your managers. This is how you thought, is it going to violate anything like that? Okay, let's say here, for example, if for date you have missing values, then what, how will you fill, what approach should we go with?
Again,
Maybe the range of the date that we can see, and we can put it somewhere like the mid value or something.
How will you
again
put
we
a range? And does
again
that
we
even make sense? I mean, of course you can do, you came up with a nice approach, you took the range, and that's not making sense, right? That will not be even close. No guarantee it will be closer to accurate value, right? And range, though certainly not. Okay, range is a difference of maximum value minus minimum. That is not a good metric here. So, but yes, this is how the problem will be. Okay, not straightforward, very tricky. I mean, anything you can do, but which will be the best thing beyond which no, you cannot improve, that you have to come up, you have to think. That's what happens. Are you guys getting that? Any question?
Yeah, maybe like we can check with the model, the year when it has been, so new model, if it is a new model, so it may be something like a recent date or something. So depending on that, again, the correlation, we can check.
Yeah. Okay. That's something logical. Yes. Okay. Let's take another scenario. Fine. Very good. Let's take another scenario. Okay. Let's say you have one of the column. Okay. And it has 90% of the missing values. Should you fill it or should you do something else?
I think we can remove that column.
What if that column is very, very important from business point of view?
If that's the case, then we need to somehow
Then
impute
we
the values
cannot
for
drop.
that.
Then
We have to handle.
you'll handle, but
Yeah.
handling will, I mean, with 10% data, you are handling 90% is, no matter what you'll do, still you'll add bias.
Mm-hmm. There will be a lot of work to handle that thing.
Best practice would be ask for new data. Okay. Ask for new data or remove altogether.
Okay, yeah, that will be good.
Okay. What other case you think you guys can come across and you have no idea how to take care of it? Okay, in our case, we don't have any numerical data, right? But assume that you have a numerical column. Let's say, okay, in this case, okay. Okay, let's talk about price. You have price column and it has some missing values. What will you do here?
Linear regression can be the one way to handle the price kind of missing value. Keep the missing value data in the test part, and the rest of the data which we have value in the train part, and then do the train test split on the train part, and then do the model part, and then again pass to test data to predict the value.
I think that's the question that is price is the target variable, right? Here.
Yes.
Maybe taking a mean of that price based on the model key and engine power categories. Let's just say if it's a 425, we can average all the prices of 425 and also the fuel type.
Any other answer?
We can also use the IQR. That is the best approach in case of the mean, median, or the numerical values.
Can we remove that? I mean, I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong. Can we remove that one because that's a target variable?
See, yeah, I think I would say all of you are quite partially right. But always when this situation comes, you should start with the question, how many records have missing values? And based on that, you have to decide. For example, let's say you have one or two missing values. Fine, remove it off. And in fact, or you can remove as well. Okay, no doubt. Removal is always an option. But if you want, even if you're filling, let's say, you have to understand what will happen, impact of your action. If you are actually ideally should remove, even if it's more, okay. Since it's a target variable, as one of you pointed, yes, you should not fill. See, what will happen, the problem with filling is that no matter even the best regression model you come up with, some of you suggested regression model or IQ, or in all this case, you don't know the exact value. That is something estimated value. Okay, even the best regression model cannot give you 100% accuracy, right? So these are estimated value. The target itself, the learning itself, if you are doing from an estimated, which is not right, of course, the prediction will also be not right. I mean, anyway, it was not supposed to be 100% right. You already added one bias. You are saying two level of errors you are adding. So that is not a good practice. Okay, so you should not even include them. You should remove them. Making sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So think that way. Okay. Now, on top of that, I have one question. Let's say you have a classification. I mean, the data set is for classification problem. And when should you go with removing the rows if there are nulls, and when should you go not remove it? How would you
Classification,
decide?
you means your target is the
No, target,
classification.
no. Target has no issue. Target is
Mm-hmm.
fine. Some of the columns have some missing values. So will you go by row removals or you'll go by column removals? How would you decide? Okay, here is my question. Let's say you have total 100 rows and 5 of the rows have some missing values. I mean, under some columns, maybe same column or different column, I don't know. But there are some 5 rows altogether who have missing values. Should I remove these 5 rows or should I not?
Yes, I think Ragini, we can remove them because the percentage of the missing values rows compared to 105. I think with 95 complete data rows also we get a good efficiency, I guess, if you remove those 5 instead of putting some other values.
Okay. Any other answer?
Maybe those values may contain some of the columns which are containing the you can say the important values. So in that case, we can't blindly drop it. We have to think and we have to take care accordingly.
Okay. What is the most important thing that you should cross verify before taking a decision?
Or do they all fall under the same column, or of different columns? Because if it is of different columns, I think 99% of the data set is with you, if you, even if you remove the 5 things also. But if you miss it with the 5 values of a column, then I think you may have to work out with something like that.
I think we can correlate the different features in case of that, and then decide.
Can you guess now? Okay. See, yeah, some of you just pointed. Firstly, here, since there are just 100 rows, the five rows are also big. It's 5% of the total data set. Okay. Second, fine. Okay, let's say 5% you can afford to delete. But important thing is, what if this 5 rows all belongs to the same categories and your data is imbalanced? Okay. Let's say you actually had this total of 90 uh 90 class 90 rows. Okay, let me call 90 rows belonging to category 1, and then 10 rows belonging to category 0. And you found that these 5 rows which are having some form of missing values all belongs to rows 5 rows category 0. Can I, if I remove them, what will happen?
So there is an imbalance in the class, like the prediction will be not that much efficient, I guess, because we have imbalance of the data for the ones and zeros. So out of that 10 rows, if 5 rows are completely missing, then the model that we will be building may go wrong.
Okay, so the thing is, you already have just 10 rows for learning. On top of that, 5 also, if you remove, then you are left with no data actually. So yes, here in this case, you should not think about deleting those 5 rows just because they are just 5 rows, but they are crucial for this class. Okay. And but maybe if those 5 rows were belonging to this out of this 90 rows, then I think that makes sense. That should
Then we
not
can
impact.
drop. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, in case of classification problem, especially if you're thinking about row removal for anything, always try to check with respect to categories. What percentage of the particular categories they belong to? Are they all belonging to the same categories? Is your data imbalanced or not? And then that's how you should decide. Okay. Don't just jump to, okay. That's the, I just wanted to give you that insight. Okay. Hopefully this is useful. Right. So you see, so many scenario can come up and so many cross questions for your interviews can also come up. So sit down, think of all this, and if somewhere, let's say somewhere it depends on some scenario, you can say that. You don't have to jump, or take 1 and 2 examples and explain. That's sufficient, but don't give any fixed answer. All right, hopefully it's going good. Any question? Okay, if not, let's move on to encoding. So there can be a lot more, okay, guys. Depending on data, I can come up with 1,000 more questions and I can tell you. But of course, on hopefully you are getting an idea of where I'm trying to go with respect to missing values. What all you can think. It can happen in real time, and every time it's not as straightforward to answer or decide. It takes a lot of analysis, so you can think around that. Let's go to the next part of the univariate analysis. That's encoding. Encoding is nothing but you're trying to, wherever you have any text data, you try to get an equivalent numerical form of it, okay, without too much hampering the data pattern. So if you see in our case, we have lot of such scenarios coming up. We have many of them. In fact, this okay, you can straightforward convert. I think mileage is already okay. I did not. Mileage is already int, nothing to change. Engine power, which is int. Ideally, engine power should be integer type. I mean, should I treat engine power as a numerical data or as a category?
It should be numerical.
What is the definition of categorical data?
Which is distinct and limited.
Yeah, so but that has to be integer eventually, right, to pass to the model. Just because
Yes.
it is integer, it becomes numerical. No, that's